All throughout human history, people have experienced things they could not understand, have seen things, creatures, not human, not of this reality, and they have passed on stories, tales of horrors, of demons lurking in the dark, flesh-eating monsters in the shadows of the trees, skin-crawling tales of what awaits you in the woods, or what sneaks into your own house on the night. Creatures that science refuses to recognize, but eyes have seen them, and hearts have raced in the wake of their terror. These are merely a few thousands of stories of European horrors to look out for, because who says the monsters stay tied to their places of origin? Number 1. The Mare. Have you ever had a nightmare so horrible your chest felt tight? Pictures in your brain so abhorrent that you would wake up screaming in tears or covered in sweat? Or have you been trapped in a nightmare, sleeping while you wish to wake, running in place from the monster that already reached out its claws to you, your heart beating in your chest, fighting inside the heavy knot that lay inside it? Yes, dreams, more often than not, are the concoction of our minds, worlds thought up to process everything we see and experience throughout the day. But those gut-wrenching, scream-waking, sleep-robbing visions of horror, the worst of the worst, are the doing of mares. Germanic, Norse and Slavic folklore tell the stories of creatures, sometimes of a dark elvish nature, hunched with swollen faces, sharp teeth that poke out of their lips, blood-red eyes peeking out of the dark as they sit on your chest to take your breath. Or a woman in all black who would come into men's dreams at night, torture and tease them with desire, before killing them in their sleep. Mares thrive off the energy of nightmares, live off it, and cause a collection of the worst dreams and horrors to feed from in their victim. Number 2. Aiatar. A hissing in the woods, hard scales slithering across the foliage behind you, the thick stench of sick in the air, a scent that not even the fresh air of the forest can mask. Any glance over your shoulder shows nothing but rows upon rows of trees, and still you hear it moving, hear its rattling breath, the slither of a split tongue between sharp teeth. And when your stomach turns against you, brings fever to your head and water to your lungs, you know she closes in. The daughter of disease. Her scaled claws dig into the soft forest floor as her tail drags among the foliage. Her heavy, rotting breath hot on your skin. Aiatar lives in the woods of Finland and in the Arctic tundra, a serpentine creature that sometimes slithers, sometimes walks on 2 legs, a reptilian, almost skeletal head, antlers growing high out of its top. The scaled back is hunched, the tail long. Sometimes she is also described with dragon-like features, sometimes as a woman who suckles snakes and brings misfortune to anyone who meets her. As the granddaughter of Hisi, the master of the woods and spreader of disease, this female spirit is said to bring sickness and pestilence wherever she goes. The mere proximity to Aiatar brings disease to anyone unfortunate enough to cross her ways, and certain death to every creature that wishes her harm. Number 3. Dullahan. The trample of heavy hooves on the cold, frozen floor inches behind, the rattling of wheels on bone, the laughter of his chattering teeth. The black horse he rides on nearly melts into the night, candles rising out of the empty sockets of skulls. A wagon covered whole in human skin. A decapitated rider. His decaying head rests on his arm. A hideous grin spreads on his face, reaching from ear to ear, showing rows of sharp black teeth. Eyes always moving, rolling in their sockets, catching onto every movement around, proficient still in the darkest of nights. The sound of his wagon sets terror into your heart. The crack of his whip, so loud it draws blood from your ears. And then, when the silence of deafness captures you whole, his whisper is carried straight into your head. A name, spoken so softly, your name. And the last sound has not rung out when your heart stills to a stop. The air is drawn from your lungs, and you drop in your run. There is no escape from Dullahan, only the fate of joining his wagon to eternally hear his piercing laugh. Said to be the embodiment of the Celtic god Crumda, the dark and crooked one, Dullahan rides through the country at night, bringing death to whoever's door he halts at. His call is said to lure the soul of human bodies, making them drop dead the second the sound reaches their ears. He carries a human spine as a whip, pulls a wagon built of human remains, skulls for candles, wheels made of thigh bones, dried human skin for a covering. Number 4. Siren. The voice rings through the vast emptiness of the oceans, carried by wind from the distance. A song, sweet and sad, calling to the maiden tricked into the depths of Hades. A melody no mind can resist. A sound no ear can escape. A shadow flies across the boat, high up. For a second, a winged shape blocks out the sun, and her song tears open sailors' hearts. Her shape, in silhouette, that of a woman. Well curved with a bulging chest and wings for arms, wakes their desires. Exhaustion settles into the Marines' heads as every task is dropped to lull into the siren's song. Hearts beating in unison with the melody. They would follow her to the end of the world. When sleep captures them, the last thing that some of them see is the face of the beast, diving for their flesh, rows of blackened teeth behind sweet, full lips. Sirens, well known to most, but often depicted in false fashion. While popular creatures like to appoint them the same characteristics as to mermaids, sirens were rulers of the skies. The shape of a woman, covered in feathers, the chest of a sparrow, scaly bird-like feet with talons razor-sharp, bird tails and fins upon their back, faces sweet while on the hunt, twisted into grimaces of pointed teeth and pitch-black eyes at the beginning of their feast. Hair wet from the dive into the oceans, where their homes often lie, arms for wings and a lust for human flesh. Their songs called to the hearts of sailors, lured them to sleep before they climbed on deck and tore the unconscious men apart, or called them onto the rocky cliffs of the islands, where shipwreck was imminent. Goddesses of seduction that leave nothing but bones and blood after their meal. Once she has picked out her target, nothing can take the scent of flesh from her. Number 5. Nuckelavee. A foul stench wafts across the marshland, the wet patting of finned feet across the floor, the low groan of a dying man and the heavy breath of his companion. His arms drag along the mud, hang limp from the human torso growing out of the horse's back. The cyclopic horse stares on with an empty gaze as the head of its human part hangs limp onto its neck. An enormous mouth gapes open from the giant head. Black blood pulses through yellow veins, rushes out of them in surges and covers the bare muscles, a skinless figure, proof of a beating heart in the mutilated bodies. A throbbing mass of red meat, shining with the dark blood that runs down its form, bright white sinews stretching and convulsing under every single step. He looks up only when the scent of human flesh reaches his nose. The human figure straightens up, empty sockets staring into the direction the singular eye on the horsehead provides. The horse's fin tail whips from side to side as it takes in the trail, and the humanoid's long arms raise off the ground to prepare for his hunt. Orcadian folklore tells stories of skinless monsters, part horse, part human, conjoined at human hip and equine shoulder. A single eye in the center of the horse's head, a gigantic head atop the humanoid's shoulder, whose arms hang down to the floor. It hunts any human it comes across, falls into a raging hunt that is only stopped by the creature of its prey, or a running body of water in its path. The scent of burning seaweed to create kelp sends it into a rage, in which he would go and kill entire fields of cattle, only stopped by the mother of the sea. 5 of thousands of cryptids in the European continent, each one dangerous, none of them anything you want to come across. But people have, and will. Those lucky enough to survive their encounters will tell their stories. It is up to us to believe them, or not. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed my narration. If you did, please go ahead and hit the like button, and if you don't already, subscribe to my channel. Also, please leave a comment. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm and will really help my channel to grow. This video was written by Anikasworldofmagic. A link to her Instagram is included in the video description. This is my first attempt at a countdown video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see more, please let me know. Thanks again for watching.